Barry Neale again here, and in this video I want to talk about the swish pattern that comes from NLP. Now, a lot of times when I talk to therapists, they say, well, I've heard about this thing called the swish pattern and I don't really understand how it works, or maybe they've tried it and they haven't really got success with it. And then they say to me, well, but you really make a big deal out of this thing. And it's true, I do. This is a really, really cool pattern that if you learn to do it, and you learn to do it correctly, can really transform people's lives. And you know, they say to me, well, where does the power come into it? And to me, it's really simple. What you're doing with the swish pattern is you are installing a brand new self-image in the person. And when you think about that, what could possibly be bigger than that? That you're installing a brand new self-image in the person. And in that you can install things like new value systems, new beliefs, new capabilities, new motivation. You can install persistence, you can install tenacity and resilience, all sorts of things like that. So you can load up this self-image of yourself with all those things. I don't know if you realize that, but you can literally load up this self-image of yourself with things like new beliefs and motivations and capabilities and tenacity and resolve, all those things into this self-image of yourself. And really what this process is, what technique really is, and the only real prerequisite you need for it to understand it is it's a cheerleader pattern. And you, as the therapist, have to become the cheerleader. Yeah? So you have to become the cheerleader for the person. Also, it installs a positive motivation strategy, a move towards strategy, which is really, really, really good because it provides ongoing motivation and generative change. So what you're doing, when you think about it, you are showing your client the biggest carrot that they've ever seen in their life. Imagine that, the biggest carrot they've ever seen in their life. I mean, what would it be like if you were to see the biggest carrot in your life? You know, if you were to create a self-image of yourself that was so compelling. You know, I know a lot of you who are watching this, you know, you want to become better therapists. You want to become more skilled, perhaps have more confidence. Maybe there's things you want to do, like write a book or create a course or something like that. What if you were to create this self-image of how you'll be after having made this change? That if you were to install all the new beliefs and attitudes, the motivation, the capabilities and the persistence, the tenacity, the resilience that would enable you to do that, what would you be like as a person if you were able to do that right now? What would you be like if you were able to do that as a person? What would you look like? I don't know if you've ever had a situation. What would it be like if you were walking along down the road and you saw yourself having made these changes? This is the you that's already made this change. And as you look over at this other you, you know this person has really got it going on. They've really got it together. I mean, if you could look over there and you saw this other you and you just looked at them and you thought, yeah, that person has really got it together. You know, I've seen photographs. I've got a friend who's an ex-Olympic skier, and I've seen her in a ski outfit and with the skis and whatever. Not seen her ski, but I just look at her and I know she's a fantastic skier. So what would it be like if you were to see yourself having all these capabilities right now that you would need in order to be the person you'd want to be? If you could see yourself. So what you need to do is to understand that you want to create this really powerful self-image. Now, Richard Bandler used to say, he said, you want to create this new desired self-image, this new desired state, so compelling, so motivating, so attractive, that as you look at it, you start to lick your lips and drawl and say, yeah, that's what I want. Now, when I talk to people about this, to therapists, they say, do you really talk to your clients like that? Yes, I do. And a heck of a lot more. Because you want to be this cheerleader. You want to turn up that volume on that, turn up that brightness, make this image bigger, brighter, whatever you need to do so that they do start licking their lips with excitement. I mean, imagine that. So this is what you need to be doing. So that's the outcome. That's the outcome picture. Now, I know for some of you, you want to learn how to become better therapists. Maybe, as I say, you might want to write a book or maybe put a course on. Maybe you just want to take your career to the next level. You want to get up and do the marketing that you know you need to do. What if you were to right now begin to create that image right now? Begin to think of yourself having made these changes. If you could see yourself over there having made these changes, and as you look at that person, you see that this person has the beliefs, the capabilities, the motivation, the persistence, the tenacity to really do that. If you could do that right now, how would you be as a person? I mean, what would you look like? Now, some people say, well, you know, you really like to pump this up. Yeah, you do. I do. You really need to pump this up. As I say, you need to be the cheerleader. One of the ways I want you to think about it is I want you to think about, just imagine if you were in a room and you were a bug on a carpet. So there you are, minding your own business, you're a bug on a carpet, and you're kind of holding on to little threads of the carpet. And then all of a sudden you hear this noise and you look up and there's a vacuum cleaner just entering the room. Someone is coming in with a vacuum cleaner. And you see this light and you're looking up and you see this light coming towards you. And you're gripping onto the carpet threads thinking, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. You see this light coming closer and closer and closer. And you hear this noise, this whooshing sound. And all of a sudden you just get sucked up into the outcome. You just get sucked right up into that outcome. That's how you want to be. So that's what you want to be doing. And of course, then once you've done this, you need to be looking for what's the trigger picture. So that's the desired state. Then you want to be looking at what's the trigger picture. So the present state, the problem state. And so with the trigger picture, and it could be, we're talking about a habit, it could be a reaction or an overreaction. It could be anything like that. It could just be something you want to do, which you're currently not doing. But we want to have a trigger picture so that it gets triggered in the real world with a new behavior. And so basically what you're going to be doing is a rewiring job. You're literally going to be rewiring the neurology to say, not this, this, not this, this. And we're going to condition that in time and time again. So here's what we want to be looking at. So first, we want to get the trigger picture. Hang on. Right? And this is the present state. Right? Present state. And we want to know what the context is. So basically, we're looking for when and where this occurs. So if it's a habit or something like that, or a reaction, we want to know when and where this occurs. And we want to create that, that situation. So we were looking for the present state and the context, when and where it happens. So this is really key. One of the things that in NLP you really want to become clear on is that you create change in the context where it happens using the triggers that are already there. So find the present state context and get that picture, whatever it is. You know, maybe if you're doing nail biting, it may be like your hand coming up to your mouth and you're just about to bite your nails. That could be the trigger picture. And this is really common. It's a really good way of using the swish pattern is for nail biting and things like that. So the picture is really obvious. The hand is coming up to the mouth. So that would be the trigger picture. Yeah. So then what you want to do is you want to shrink the desired state that we've just been talking about, the you that's already have made these changes, shrink that image down into a tiny little dot and put that right in the middle. So shrink the desired state, DS, into a dot and put it in the middle of the trigger picture. Yeah, got it? So then what we want to do is we want to zoom both those images off into the distance, right off into the horizon so that they disappear off into the distance. And then what we want to do is we want to use God's slingshot, and we want to have the desired state come flying back to us really quickly. So at first, when we're conditioning in with a client, we want to bring it back slowly so that and at first you might think, well, hang on, there's something coming towards it. What is it? What is it? But then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then it's this huge, great image comes whoosh of this desired state right in front of you, right in front of you. And you know what's really good is if you take this image and you kind of tilt it down on the client like this, and they're looking up at it, and then you tilt it down, and then you go boom, straight over them, and go boom, straight over them, and you kind of guess how that can really get them. So you really want to zoom it off first into the distance, off to the horizon, and then once you push it off, and then you have it swoop back. And then you condition it and you say to the person, okay, look, we've now started to rerun your neurology and we want to condition it in so that this happens automatically. And at this point, you can start putting in suggestions. You know, the more you do this, the bigger it's going to happen, and blah, 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 blah. So you start throwing in a few suggestions. Don't get flowery. Be straight to the point. This is no time for indirect bullshit. Straight in, do it. So then, once you've done that, and you have the desired state comes straight back, you condition it in. So you zoom it off, straight back. Zoom it off, desired state, straight back. It's important to break the state between times when you do that, because you don't want to chain the two things together. So as you push it off into the distance, when it comes back really big, and you tilt it down and go over the top of them, have them absorb that for a while, and then have them open their eyes and look around or whatever. Then you do it again, and you condition it over and over again, 3, maybe 7 times. Really condition it in. You want to make it automatic. Then you have them think. So when you think now of that trigger picture, what happens now? If you've done your work correctly, they are going to go straight into the state. And if you studied the earlier videos that I was talking about on sensory acuity, you're not going to have to ask them if they feel better, because you should see it on every pore of their body. They should be oozing that positive state. This is a pattern that really is a cheerleader pattern. You don't sit there with your sheet of paper and say, now, can you push that off into the distance? Okay, now have that picture come back really quickly. Is it back yet? No! Be the cheerleader. Really, really be the cheerleader. So now there are a couple of times different variations on the swish pattern. The two main ones are the one we've just been looking at, which is using distance as the driver. Now, it's always kind of difficult when I'm doing a video like this, because I don't know what prior knowledge you have. But in NLP, there is a thing called submodalities, and then there are things called driver submodalities. Now, the driver submodalities are the key submodalities that make the most profound changes. Now, in visual imagery, there are a couple of ones that are really big. If you take an image and you push it off into the distance, typically, in fact, nearly always, that will make the intensity of the feeling reduce. Yeah. If you bring it back and make it big and in front of you, that will increase it. So distance is a driver. The other ones, which are generalizations, and the other version of the swish pattern is size and brightness. And this is one you may have seen before if you've watched any videos. So two different types of driver submodalities. And this one is the size and brightness one. So again, you do exactly what we've done up to now. You create this positive resource image, the desired state that you want them to be. Make that as powerful as possible. Turn up the brightness, turn up all the colours and everything, make it so compelling. And what you then do is then you also then elicit the present state image. Yeah. So again, that could be the hand coming up to the mouth. So you have that image, right? So then in the bottom corner, you put small and dark, the desired state. Yeah. I.e. what you want. In that, and then what you do is you simultaneously reduce the size of the present state, i.e. the problem image, reduce that while simultaneously expanding the desired state. And so what it's saying to your brain is it's saying, not this, this, not this, this. And so it's going down, and this one is going up. Yeah? Does that make sense? So hopefully that does make sense, because none of you are nodding that I can see. So that's the two main types of swish pattern. One is by using size and brightness. And again, the brightness part is, this is small and dark at the moment, and it expands big and bright. Yeah. And the present state at the moment is big and bright, and you shrink that down, small and dark. Yeah. Does that make sense? So that's the other variation of the swish pattern. Now, mistakes. Oops, here's a mistake, I've run out of paper. Okay, let's hope this is a white clean board and these aren't permanent markers. The mistakes people make with the swish pattern. Big mistake number one is they try and swap one behaviour for another. So for example, if they're working with a smoker, they might have the present state image of them reaching for a pack of cigarettes and the desired state of them reaching for a carrot baton or something like that. No, that's wrong. Do not waste your time trying to swap one behaviour for another. This is a generative pattern. This is about creating a self-image who has totally overcome that problem. This is the self-image of someone who would never even think of smoking. It's not about swapping behaviours. I hope you get that, because if there is mistakes that people make about the swish pattern, it's that. So it's really, really, really important that you do generative change. And if you do that, you are going to notice some major, major shifts in your clients. Because you're creating this major change and it's generative, you're not just changing one behaviour for another. That's just too simple. This is creating lifelong permanent change. Now the key also is thinking that if you do this once or twice, then it's going to change the person's life. No, you have to condition it in. Now you might have to do it in the session 3, 5, 7 times, 21 times. Doesn't matter. You can also tell them, right, okay, from now on, every day I want you to do this 5 times a day. Get them to do it. Get them to be in the situation and do that. Get them to condition it in. It's one of the things that some people have criticism of NLP, is that this thing of like one-time change. It doesn't always happen that way. You have to use conditioning. So make sure you get the clients to condition it in. So that's a quick talk about the swish pattern. It is a very, very powerful pattern. You can change huge amounts, you can create huge amounts of change with this pattern really, really quickly. But you have to be the cheerleader. This is no time to be the British therapist sitting there with your A4 notepad saying, okay, tell me how you feel about this. No, you've got to be the cheerleader. I hope I've impressed that upon you by now. You've got to break out of this idea of being the therapist and that there are certain rules that you can't do this and you can't do that. You have got to be the cheerleader if you are going to be a successful therapist. You have got to behave like the other therapists don't. Because otherwise you're just going to repeat the same problems. So please, please, please take this on board. You have got to learn to be animated. You have got to learn to change your state. You have got to lead from the front. If you want people to be excited, get excited yourself. This is so important. So use this pattern. It's incredibly powerful if you do it the right way. So I hope this has been of some value for you. And again, if you have any questions, you can either contact me through Facebook or my website or on my YouTube channel. So hopefully I'll see you soon. Until then, keep practicing and let me know how well you're doing.